On this episode of Game Shack, AtGames and Arcade1up have big summer sales. I'm going to tell you if there's anything of interest in those sales, and I'm going to explain why I think that The Simpsons was a bomb and yet TRON was a hit. Coming up next. Hey everybody, welcome on back into the Game Shack. I'm your host JDV for Evil Genius Entertainment.com. Thanks for stopping by. Really do appreciate it. If you like this show, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, all that kind of good stuff. All right, well, let's just jump right on into it. Right now, there's a big sale over at Arcade1up where they have a bunch of their machines either on sale directly or some sort of bundle deal. Primarily, the thing that really pops out to me is that on their website now we see The Simpsons for $200 off, which really indicates to me that that cab is not selling well, and I'm going to get into why that is in just a second. I don't really see anything that really pops off the page over there at Arcade1up, things that you can't resist the price. Nothing like that $420 sale that they had on their Star Wars pinball game on May 4th, which actually was a pretty good deal. There's nothing else that you probably can't get at Walmart or Best Buy or Kohl's, something like that. So it's a sale, but it's not really a great sale. Contrast that with AtGames, which is having their Father's Day / summer sale, I think they're calling it now. Anyways, their semi-annual sale where just about everything they have, from their hardware to their games to their software, is all on some sort of a sale, all the way up to I think 25-35% off. Again, as someone who already owns a whole lot of AtGames stuff, there's not a whole lot that pops off the page there for me, except maybe the ALU Mini. Now the ALU Mini retails for $400, just a standard package, but if you get the upgraded pinball package for $50 more when they have their sale, and I believe that starts on June 16th, you get their whole pinball package, the controllers, the games, and all of that kind of thing in there for another $50, and that's not a horrible deal because you can rotate that screen to the vertical position. The ALU Mini is an intriguing cabinet to me because as much as I love the ALU, it'd still be the first game I bought. If I could only own one game, it would be the ALU king size. However, when you're trying to play vertical games on there, you're only getting about a 14-inch screen, nothing close to the vertical screen that Arcade1up offers for their like Pac-Man and games like that. So getting this 17-inch screen on the ALU Mini is an interesting, well, 16.9. Either way, it's a very interesting kind of package if you want to put your Coin Ops X package for vertical games, or you just want to play the ALU vertical games, period. Having that pinball package on there and the ability to play vertical games from Coin Ops X make this one something I might take a look at. So let's get to the main topic of the show, and that is why The Simpsons kind of went belly up and was pretty much, I believe now, a solid state flop. And I say that because when you go over there to their website, as I mentioned, it's $200 off at Arcade1up's own website. It has been $200 off or more at several of their retailers like Best Buy and Walmart and things like that. The game has been on sale for a long time. When you contrast that with TRON, which has not gone on sale at all anywhere as far as I know, that's staying a solid $700, and it seems like it is still a solid seller for Arcade1up. And I believe T2 is down now to $550, so we've seen $150 come off of that, and that's still a little too rich for my blood for two games. However, nobody really was anticipating Terminator 2. People were hoping that they would put out a TRON game, but nobody was really hoping for a T2 game. So to see it come down to $550, okay, that's not a terrible price. But to see The Simpsons, a game that people had requested for years and was really one of the games that generated the most kind of hype over the last 2 or 3 years in terms of anticipation, to have it fall so far off the board so relatively quickly, essentially 6 months, is a bit of a surprise. Or is it? And I say it's a bit of a surprise because, well, look, T2 has one game. TRON has 2 games, and TRON has not gone on sale. T2 is on sale, but for not as much as The Simpsons. And The Simpsons, of course, has 2 games as well. So what is it about that game that has made it kind of go belly up? Well, I think there's a few things. One, it was so anticipated. So to have it kind of finally come out and people realize that, well, it's not going to be any kind of thing special in other than the fact that it has the game and it has a cool artwork. It has the same 17-inch screen, which I think is just devastatingly too small for any 4-player game. When you look at a 4-player cabinet from Arcade1up, the control deck ends up being huge, and you have this very tiny 17, 19-inch wide machine that only has a 17-inch screen in it, which makes it all but impossible for 4 adults to play that game. And so you have this really big machine that cost $700 when it was new, and unless you are a person who runs an arcade that has a lot of friends coming over, so like every Friday night at your little home bar or whatever, or maybe you own a bar or a party store or something like that, and you want to draw in customers by using it, this machine would take up a lot of space and yet still be very minimum in terms of its screens. And let's be honest, the replayability of The Simpsons is not fantastic. It's a beat 'em up. You can only play beat 'em up so many times before you get bored, particularly if you're playing by yourself. And that is the thing I think that really is the big difference here, is you have this big 4-player person type game, but still the small monitor. You only have 2 games with it. If you contrast that with Terminator, that's a 2-player game, and that works because you can stand back a little bit with those guns, and you can have 2 grown men basically playing that game. 17 inches is too small for that screen. It's actually the reason why I didn't pick it up. But, you know, it's within the realm of possibility. At least it doesn't take up any more foot space than a normal Arcade1up game. Same thing with TRON. In TRON, you have just maybe one of the most beautiful form factors of any Arcade1up game there is. You still have the ability to kind of juice that game. You can put on your own lit coin door. So there is some opportunity there for mods. Heck, you can put in new controller, new joystick. You shouldn't have to, but it's just one of those games where the wow factor is so big, where it is art. It's this type of furniture, right? It's something where even if you don't play the game so often, it looks so beautiful you can get away with it. Terminator 2 kind of has a little bit of that, right? Simpsons, yeah, it's Simpsons, but you know, it is a 1990s cartoon, something that you really want right dab in the middle of your living room? Probably not. Particularly if it's only going to be you playing it, geez, you have all of that space taken up by a game that really offers the most replayability in that bowling game. Are you going to really want to play that bowling game by yourself a whole lot of times? Probably not. So what could Arcade1up have done in retrospect to make The Simpsons not be a flop? And when you have it $200 off 6 months after you introduce it on your own website, that is an acknowledgement, essentially, that it is a flop. Well, I think they should have done 2 things. It's just, if you're going to do an XL size cab, if you're going to do something that has a 19-inch screen, it's got to be the 4-player games. It just has to be. 17 inches is way too small for a 4-player beat 'em up or a 4-player type, side-scrolling type game. You just need to have a bigger screen. The end, hard stop. So if they had given us more games, something else in there that was 4-player, no matter how cheesy, or given us something else that uses that trackball. Again, you only have 1 trackball game on a machine that has a trackball. Why? It just doesn't make any sense. And I could see you could maybe get away with that 17-inch screen if you had some more single-player or 2-player games that use that trackball, and they just don't. So hopefully this is a lesson learned, Arcade1up, that if you're going to put out a big 4-player control deck game, to either give us a bigger screen and or give us a whole lot more games. Is this now a price that you are interested in The Simpsons, or no, you would rather spend that $500 or $550 on a T2, or save a little bit more money and get the TRON game? I really am interested. Let me know what you think down below. For me, the only game I really still have a huge amount of interest in is TRON. I'm going to wait till that thing goes on sale. Speaking of sales, there are, of course, a lot of sales over at Arcade1up, and maybe something over there will spark your fancy. Same thing with AtGames starting on June 16th. Please check out Michael B's video if you want more information on that. And until next time, love each other, and I'll see you guys in a Game Shack. Mwah! Be sure to visit EvilGeniusEntertainment.com for exclusive content, swag, casting call news, and much, much more.